This is my presentation on green computing in business, which has been contextualised in my role at Blackpool Council. So in this presentation, I'll aim to give different examples of sustainable practices within my job role. I'll take into consideration the current trends that are within green computing and sustainability within the industry. I'll also use my personal knowledge to provide insights on what benefits there are for different businesses to adopt practices. I'll then contextualise this in ways that could be used in my workplace. So my workplace is Blackpool Council and I work in the ICT department. I'll then conclude my findings and an FAQ of the different questions that may be asked. So first of all, the examples of green computing. So this has been contextualised in Blackpool Council. So the examples of practices that we already have in place at Blackpool Council. So we have really strong recycling initiatives. So we always have access to recycling bins, we always encourage the act of recycling, and we also do that with our technology. We allow for the contact to different educational institutions. So we have contact with both Lancaster University and Blackpool Fylde College, which give us chances to learn more about green computing and sustainability, as well as understanding how their infrastructure might differ from ours, which could improve our practices or could show us ways that we can improve our practices. As well, we also have our own infrastructure that we manage. We are also looking into new technology and new advancements in the industry in relation to reducing power consumption in data centres. So there are some potential improvements that we could make within the council. So we don't actually have any training courses available for staff members to be able to see that would teach them how to do better technological practices. So that would be things like putting computers on sleep mode or reducing the amount of time that they're away from the laptop before the laptop will shut down or go into sleep. We also have different pieces of infrastructure that are constantly available, which obviously means that they are constantly drawing power. So there may be ways that we could reduce this by having certain parts of our infrastructure only available at certain times or shut off at certain times. We could also focus more on repairing mobile phones. So there's certain issues with mobile phones where we just replace the mobile phone itself rather than repairing the screen or any further issues with the phone that could be related to the hardware itself. I've also highlighted all the trends in green computing and sustainability. So the trends that I could think of are that there are more improvements in renewable energy resources. So there's been quite a large increase in the number of companies that are invested in these resources to power their data centres. So that'd be things like solar power, that'd be things like hydroelectric electricity. They also have invested in virtualizing a lot of their servers so that they can have multiple servers in one, which obviously reduces the energy consumption but also lowers the amount of resources that may need to be used by just a smaller server that doesn't have as much demand for it. As well as this, there have been some developments in software that have allowed for more efficient algorithms, which then require less processing power and therefore energy consumption. There have also been some improvements in the hardware side of things. So one of the major improvements would be the creation of stackable chips, which are a 3D configuration of silicone chips, which allow for more chips to be on a single chipset. There are also a lot of improvements that can be made to sustainable packaging. So that would be packaging that can be recycled or has already been recycled, that can improve having less and less plastic and resources that we can actually renew after we've used them. So businesses are also making commitments to their practices. So there's new ideas from companies like Microsoft and from Apple to make underwater tanks for cooling processors in data centers, which would obviously improve the efficiency of the cooling solutions. So then I've outlined the cost advantages and social advantages of adopting these social and sustainable business practices. So the businesses can gain a lot of money from their investments in it, as they have more energy saving, which adds up, especially in large companies. They also have more of a step forward on legislation, so they don't have to constantly be trying to catch up to the new legislation being put in place, which could obviously cause problems in terms of if they already have a project and then they have to catch up. So they won't have to deal with that anymore. And they can also benefit as they may have issues with certain supply chains for resources that they use or devices that they use. So repairing them can then save time for them and also money. They have significant social advantages in terms of being the first to improve their business practices, can improve their brand perception, but it can also mean that the competitors within the industry will also have to enhance their own sustainable practices, which keeps you ahead of your competitors. There's also a lot of advantages in terms of the risks that businesses could have, because if they're not adapting to new legislation, or if they're not trying to keep up and be further than the legislation itself, then that could cause some reputational damage for different businesses, as the customers won't want to buy their products due to environmental issues. So my conclusion of this is that Blackpool Council has created quite a strong foundation for these sustainable practices, where they're encouraged and they're supported, and this is further improved by all the initiatives that we have in place in the council, and it also allows us to keep up to date on all the advancements within the industry. So due to this continued effort to improve all of this education and all the knowledge for our employees, this also means that, as well as all of the collaboration that we have, that we can also lessen our impact to the environment, as well as also improving our social perception with the people of Blackpool.